Well, this is really exciting for me, and I'm sure lots of others that are going to be tuning into this, that we are seeing real people in front of us from the Mullagh set that isn't on YouTube or somewhere else, because that seems to be the only place that a lot of us grown up watching the Mullagh set has always been online. So maybe if you start off by maybe introducing yourself and telling people your names.
Okay, I'll start. I'm Maureen Darcy, married to Stephen O'Grady from Mullagh.
And I'm Kathleen Darcy Haugh, married to the late Peter Haugh from Doonbeg.
And your sisters?
We are
sisters.
Yeah, I never knew that. I never knew that there were sisters that danced, and sister-in-laws were the other two ladies that danced in the set. So maybe just to start off, in case there's people that are listening or watching back on this that don't know what is the Mullagh set, will you start off maybe by telling us a little bit about E as a group, the 8 dancers?
Well, I'll tell you how we started. In the late 60s, early 70s, we had a priest in Mullagh called Father O'Keefe. So he decided to put a camogie club together, which was grand. But that seemed to coincide with a score talent competition run by the GAA. Now, Father O'Keefe decided that we should enter that. And as a camogie club, we were the only club in West Clare. Now, the score was really for the parish, but we could extend. So the Mullagh set was formed by getting 2 men from Doonbeg. So that's how it started. And that was down to Father O'Keefe. And the 2 men then, well, the set originally you had Betty Sexton, Tony Talty, our father Tone Darcy, Rita Tubridy, Willie Keane, and myself, and who have I left out?
Ollie
Conway and Maureen. How could I leave her out?
Good. So with the set, what were you dancing?
Oh, it was the traditional Clare Caledonian set. So we entered the score competition. And we entered it a couple of years now. Remember, this is a long time ago. And we got as far as the Munster final. But as we got to see other sets, it was amazing. We were the traditional battering Clare set, Caledonian set, but you had a lot of polka sets. And in the polka set, the men and women kind of were doing the same thing. But we weren't. And what we found in our set, the men were fantastic to batter. They would get carried away with the music, and the musicians would get carried away playing for them. And the women, we were lively dancers, but we weren't battering by any means. But we'd have to remind them, because when you were in a competition and you were dancing a figure, you had to be specific and go in the right place. So we'd be dancing, we'd say slide, half around, dance in your own place, back home. So they were delighted. We were steering them and they were battering it. And that's really how it went.
You were the real drivers of the
set. But they did the hard work and they loved it.
And the great music, of course.
Now, coming back to that, as Maureen said, the great music, we had a fantastic musician, Michael Sexton. He was just brilliant. And he knew the dances and he knew how to play. And he played great music for them.
And like at half time, with the other half would come in, he'd change tunes, lift the crowd.
They'd all in together, and there'd be a cheer from everyone, the dancers, and if there was anyone looking on, they'd cheer. So
and Michael was also connected to the set, not just as your musician, but he was also related.
Michael was married to Betty, and we used to practice in Betty's house, and Michael's house was the same house, and before we'd come home in that night time, Betty would have lovely scones made, and we'd have tea and scones, and it was a lovely occasion. But we were blessed with the music.
With the connection, she was asking, Michael's sister was Rita.
Oh yeah. Rita Tubridy was Michael's sister, so you had 2 sisters and sisters-in-law.
Yeah, and the musician related to one and married to the other.
That's it, yeah.
Great. And just to rewind, to go back from the set being formed at all, to go back to ye as sisters, where did dance come into your family first, or how did you get introduced into that? I know your dad is a pretty significant dancer, but was his father or mother dancing, or how did it all start?
I remember he'd imitate his father. Apparently his father, as an old man, would hold the back of the chair and do a bit of a batter. And he used to imitate him, do you remember that?
Yes.
But there could be music on in the house and he'd come in and he'd batter a bit.
But we learned dancing as step dancing also. I learned step dancing, yes.
But that had nothing got to do with the set dancing.
But you know, they understand the music and the rhythm and the timing.
And who was teaching me the step dancing?
Her name was Mrs. O'Loughlin. She came from Lahinch. And then later on then there was Eugene Phillips and his wife, Pat Phillips. Yeah.
And they travelled around in the area teaching?
They'll come to we used to go to Queally to learn the step dancing when we were young. And then we had Eugene Phillips and his wife Pat, and they came to Mullagh Hall. So we used to have our lessons there on a Saturday.
Yeah, so that I'm sure that had an influence in some way on your dancing too.
Oh yes, yes.
Dancers. So for your set dancing, your dad was battering, and you know the way you dance, you're so gentle and light as you steer the set. How did you learn to do that?
Well, we didn't do anything. We were only lively dancers with them. We wouldn't even dream of trying to copy what they were doing. They all had their own individual style. And the better the music got, the better they got. You know, you couldn't be specific. You couldn't say he does A, B and C to this, and, you know...
It was spontaneous, really.
It was spontaneous.
To the music.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So really you didn't have any teachers at all? You just...
No,
you learned by just dancing?
Just the feel of it all, just the movement and that.
Yeah, and by being their partner.
Exactly. And do you remember, you were saying years ago, if you went to a Queally, everybody would join up in a ring and be in and out and you do your own thing. But as the years progressed then, it was more or less sets of four.
Yeah.
You know, but that was in later years. But when this set started then, it was practice and, you know, working together. But again, the men, they beat out the music beautifully. And I remember once we were on something in some concert in Liberty Hall. And afterwards there was an informal session and we were sitting downstairs. So then the set started to dance and they danced away and the music stopped. But they kept battering. And the next thing the music picked up again. You know, that's the kind, they were wonderful. And it was something that wasn't thought. It was spontaneous.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, maybe in slow motion you could make out what exactly they were doing with their feet, but it would be very difficult.
And were there other people, bar those 4 men and ye 4 ladies that were part of that set, were there more people involved in the Mullagh set over time?
Things happened, circumstances, people moved on. I recall there's 2 couples' names I'd like to mention. There was John Troy and Patricia, and they came from Kilballeon, that's back Carrigaholt direction. And you had Tommy and Ursula Lenine. One particular dancing session we had was actually out in Germany. It was through Murrish Row, and we were invited out to Cologne to a festival. So they danced a lot at the time then, you know, in the Mullagh set. We did other, I'm just thinking of where we performed as set dancers. We were invited down to Listowel, the Rinvois. We actually danced at the Rose of Tralee. I was thinking then about Glór when it opened in Ennis. We were there at the opening of that, outside of taking part in other events.
And over the years, different people danced. It would be called the Mullagh set. You might have 2 members from the original set.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm just talking about the original one.
Yeah.
Because we all went, as you say, our separate ways. But you danced much longer with them.
Oh, I did indeed.
My
yes. But I want to mention one other person. I don't really want to be mentioning names because there were so many. But like when we were in Germany in particular, Ollie Conway danced with his daughter Mary. So just fond memories, really.
Will you tell me some more about Ollie Conway? Because that's a name that seems to come up with other dancers that we've spoken to, Aidan Vaughan and several people from Clare. Everyone seems to mention Ollie Conway. So if you can tell me more, maybe about why he was such a significant figure for music.
I suppose it's because he had a pub in Mullagh, first of all, and secondly, he was a great singer. So I think that would have a major
he's a character really too, yes. Yeah.
He seemed to be a person that was very... an unforgettable character that brought people together and full of development, the stories that we heard.
You sized him up very well. Yeah.
I'd love to have known him. Yeah. For the Mullagh set, for us looking at the Mullagh set growing up, it was always such a significant... I never actually knew the names of people within the set other than Willie Keane. I knew Willie Keane had white socks and then he danced in that set. And we never knew the names of people, so it's really lovely to see ye and how I thought that you were... I was so blown away by how young you were. I was expecting you to be much older. I didn't realise there was such young people in the set, which is also a thing that when we're watching that set dancing, for a lot of us, we're actually not looking at you at all. We're looking at your feet the whole time. Like, I know your shoes inside out and what you're wearing and the heels and your steps. But what I want to know is I know what makes it really special for me, but for ye being involved in it and starting from where it first was put together and the huge fame that you got from it, what do you think for everyone else watching this made it so special? Like, what was it that just everybody said, oh, the Mullagh set, and you're now a renowned for the rest of time set? What was it?
Well, I'd say it's something that can't be copied. It's unique. And those men now have all passed away. So their style has died with them. And each of the four, they all have their own style. Yeah. And when you look at it, even when I look at it now, you see, there is the Mullagh set, but on YouTube it's the half set, which is a pity because the Mullagh set is the set, it's a team. But when I look at it, I'm in that video with Rita, and I'm dancing with Willie Keane and Rita's dancing with my father. I even get tired looking at it. You know, but then again, I haven't danced a set in ages, but we just kept going.
I think it's the music and the dancing, they complement each other.
Yeah.
They bring out the best in them. You know, if you hear nice music, it just makes you feel good. So you just get that feeling, that enjoyment, that pleasure from it. It just sounds magnificent. It's brilliant. Even going to the Queallys now, you have the music, it lifts you.
What's lovely is how ye dance today is still how, you know, you're not competitive dancers. So how you dance at a Queally, like with the Tulla on Thursday, is the same way that you dance in that set. You know, you're not rigid or counting.
Just enjoying it. Like everyone else. You know, you walk in there to the marquee and the music is playing and you see the dancers and they're all smiling. There's such pleasure attached to it. And it keeps in the music. The music and the dances, they really complement each other.
And I think the Mullagh set really set the seed for set dancing. And it has spread all over, as we can see even during the Willie Clancy week. But, you know, you have a lot of young sets, which is wonderful, but they're taught. The boys and girls are taught what to do. And, you know, you asked about the Mullagh set, was unique.
It was.
We weren't taught what to do. But we did have to remind the men, you know, where to move around within the figure. But that was it, really, yes.
Yeah, there's never been a Mullagh set since. There's no one that's... I've never seen anyone come close to even dancing like ye. And I think that point that you make there of been taught and just been thrown in and feeling the rhythm and like I love that you learnt by just dancing, holding and feeling the when to go up, when to go down, that body of movement. You can see that, and compared to today when you teach people to do that, they don't have that movement and flow.
It has to come from your body, you just feel it like.
I was speaking yesterday to Betty Sexton that also danced with you. On the phone, I was speaking with her and she was trying to tell me everything and all her memories, and I was trying to tell her, save them for another day, I'll catch you again. But one of the ones she was dying laughing about was the day you danced in 2 competitions in the one village and won both of them. Do you remember that? There was a set dancing competition in one pub and then in another pub. And you moved,
Oh my God.
She was very proud of that one. That she came away with the medals from both pubs.
Ennis, maybe I
don't know, or would it be we won an All-Ireland full set and we won the 2 half sets in the All-Ireland.
The same day.
This was definitely some pub. Some in a village, but I'll ask her again. I was going with it was tell me what you've taken part in, like the All Ireland that you've won.
I don't know.
No, tell me your memories of what you've taken part in with the set.
Well, we'll say the major competitions would be the score, and we went as far as Munster, and then the Flanua. When that started in Dublin, and we danced there a lot. And it is in the Flanua we won the All Ireland. And in the Flanua again, the 2 half sets won the All Ireland, half set All Ireland. In the following year, the other half an All Ireland. But we won local competitions. Now I really can't remember them, but we were
like with a cabinet of plaques at home.
Yeah.
And what set were you always dancing?
The Caledonian.
Oh, it was the Caledonian set.
We did the plain set once or
twice. We did, but it was the competition it was the Caledonian.
Even as the half set?
Oh yeah. Well, you see, when you think of the set, it's divided into 2. You know, one half and the other, then up together, and you continue. So that's how the half set came into it. But it was the Caledonian to reels, and it was just It was great. It's only now when we look back. I mean, we were young at the time. We weren't that enthusiastic.
But the Caledonian has the jig and the hornpipe figures.
Yeah,
we
but the
usually
main
did the
thing was the
reels.
reels, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for the set then, for that group of 8 of you, aside from performing and competing, what were your dance lives outside of that? So did you go to Queally's together as groups and head off?
No,
or did you dance at all?
Well, I was thinking of getting married, and I don't know about you.
The pub was the scene then. But no, not that time. Do you know what it's so long
Oh yeah,
ago?
the pub was the scene. It's
really.
really.
We go to the pubs,
yeah.
We would dance
to the pub.
pubs.
You had the Armada, and you had Danganella Tavern.
And the Quilty, and the Cross Savannah.
And the Cross Savannah, the Quilty Tavern.
Yeah.
So really, it was a Saturday night for the Armada.
The Bannermen, yes.
Yeah, and Sunday night for Danganella. So you dance sets there. Yeah, I'd forgotten that now, but you dance sets there. But that would be the main thing that we'd have gone to.
We'd have gone to dances in the hall as well that time.
Yeah.
In Clare and Mullagh.
Who were playing for them?
Oh, we're talking about modern dances.
Yeah. Oh, modern, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Jives.
At the pubs it would be a traditional group.
A waltzing and set dancing.
But
sets.
This would be the ordinary dances.
Mm-hmm. In regards your shoes, this is something that I get asked all the time.
Oh yeah.
About what you were wearing.
Well, one thing I want to stress, the men never put tips in their shoes. You know the way of people putting tips in their shoes? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't dream of it. We just bought shoes that were in fashion at the time. We might be told, the women were told we'd be wearing white shoes, but it didn't matter.
Yeah, it's something that comes up.
They were in platform, sure they weren't.
They were a slight platform.
A very slight platform, but they were our own shoes. Like we wore them, not just.
They weren't your dancing shoes.
Oh, we didn't have dancing shoes, and we didn't need dancing shoes. And the men had the leather soles.
Yeah. Good. Is there any specific memories from your time with the Mullagh set that really stand out, that it was a very special moment or trip or set for you at that time?
It would have to be winning the All Ireland.
Yes.
It would have to be winning the All Ireland, I'd say. That was a great thing for us.
And I suppose been on television.
Oh yeah, that was a big treat as well. I mean, that time it was a major event. And it was in black and white, just to let you know how long ago it was.
What was that recorded on?
There were 2 programmes. One was...
The first one I said was Bring Down
the Lamp. Was that with Tony McMahon? I'm a bit mixed up, and the other one was Come West Along the Road. Mm-hmm. And they were both recorded in Dublin, in the studio. But I mean, that was such a long time ago now, I can't really remember. But they were major events at the time, because, it was relatively new to know somebody who was on television and lived down the road.
As I can imagine, in your community.
Yes.
The excitement for it. For all of you that are still there, the 4 ladies, are you teaching or are you dancing today? Or have you children that are dancing?
Yes. Well, I'm set dancing. I've been at the Queally's every night so far, which I'm enjoying here. And as regards with children, with grandchildren, I'm glad to say that the music still and dancing still lives on. They're learning the dancing and the music, and of course they're playing football as well. But yeah, there's no fear. It's really embedded in the community. It's our culture. It's part of life in West Clare. Music, song and dance, and the GAA, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's great exercise. It's very enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, I think you should go around with a T-shirt at the Queally's that says, I'm one of the women in the Mullagh set.
No.
Because there'd be so many that wouldn't believe it, that you're one of the originals. It'd be great.
I never even thought about it that way. No.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to share with us about your time in all of that, or stories of...
Well, just another thing about it, we were blessed at the time. We had a place to practice down with Betty and Michael. We had a fantastic musician to play for us, and that was Michael Sexton. And in the rare and very rare event that he wasn't available, my late husband used to play, and Tommy Mahoney or Tommy McMahon would play with him, but we had Michael. And then we had transport, Rita Tubridy. She had her own minibus, she and Alphonsus, and we'd off into the bus and off we'd go. We were very lucky. Mm-hmm. And, I suppose we have good memories now, but it's only hindsight. It's only when you look back you say they were great. But when we were going through them, it didn't take much notice.
We were much younger, you see, we had other lives. And the point of it all, I suppose, at the end of the day, you could say, like, there was no generation gap. You had fathers and daughters and the whole lot. It's great, in dancing. That's the beauty of it.
Is Betty and Rita still dancing?
I don't think so.
Think
I'm sure they'll be quite capable of dancing. I don't know if they
Yeah,
dance really.
I don't think so.
Maybe that's something we need
Well, I
to...
haven't danced in ages. I haven't danced a set in, I don't know, some wedding about 100 years ago.
Oh.
It's something you have to keep going. As I say, looking
Yeah.
at the set on television, I get tired looking at it, and I wonder, how did I keep going? But then I see my sister and she dancing, so it's all practice.
Yeah.
Or, you know, whatever you're doing, you have to keep doing it.
Yeah. We'll have to get onto the committee here for the Scoil Saru and say, next year now we want to see 4 ladies dancing with the Tulla.
I meant to say that to you
revive
about
set.
the Willie Clancy. I must say how we did dance over the years
Oh,
at the
yeah.
big concert on the Saturday nights. The Mullagh set would
For
feature
years,
that
yeah.
for years and years, thanks to Mullagh again, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Great.
Better take out the videos instead, I think.
Not at all. We have you here.
A question about, you were talking about the link between music and dance and how important that connection was, and you were getting that energy from the musicians.
Yes.
Do you think that link is still as strong today?
Oh, yeah. Definitely, yes.
Yeah. It's with a certain generation, though, because you'll go in and dance, but if you were taught to dance with, like, the younger ones now,
Well, you'd be hoping they'd get that feel, you know, that
when they're
that
more
would do that to
relaxed,
them.
when they're not in a competition, maybe.
Yeah.
Because
Such
it has to
pleasure in
lift you.
dancing.
And what type of music, or what is it about the music that makes you want to?
Well, I don't know. As I said before, I remember my father coming in, and if there was a certain tune or something on the radio, he would do a little bit of a batter. You know, something just made him do it. And as you said, when you go into the set dancing, the music just
You
lifts
just want to dance to that music. It's so uplifting. It is.
And do you find it different? So you're talking about playing or dancing with like a solo musician like solo accordion versus dancing with a Queally band. Is that a very different experience?
I don't think
Well,
so.
no,
We
live.
all-
You
we
can't
all
beat
60.
live music.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a big band and a big marquee. I mean, but if confined and not too many musicians, it's still fine.
And Jimmy Hall Sexton, that's Betty's son, sure, he's a brilliant musician. And even if he was just playing by himself,
Yes,
he is excellent.
Yeah, good music is good music.
Yeah.
exactly.
Music for dancing.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Thanks. It's been a real honour having you. I'd love to get the 4 of you together now, because another time the 4 women and see you all dancing.
Are you going to find men for us?
That's no bother. I'll definitely find men for you. Yeah. I said they'll be queuing up when they find out that you're the women from that set.
The 3 of us are widows. You only need 3 men.
Oh.
3 of us are widows. Maureen has her own man.
Oh, but he's not going to dance with me.
Okay, so
Oh,
you
well,
have to get
4
4.
men. 4
I
men.
don't think so.
I'd say John the leper that just left will be the first one ready to go. Yeah, well, thank you so much for being part of this. Yeah.